I can see that now.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Heal From A Narcissist Ask Us Anything free webinar. So Charlotte is just going to take a little bit of time to just kind of talk about what the agenda is for today. And meanwhile, I'm going to be on the back end kind of figuring out, making sure all the tech stuff is working so that we're displaying and broadcasting in the right place. So Charlotte, why don't you kick us off and let us know what today is going to be about?
Okay, fantastic. So we want to run through later on in the discussion today what are the different weeks of the program. The Heal From A Narcissist program, it's 8 weeks. It's fantastic. We've got some amazing experts coming in. But what we want to do first is run through a couple more bits and pieces around what are some of the problems that might have happened to you? What are some of the different ways that you might be impacted as a result of a narcissistic relationship? And what we're going to draw from is we've actually got a quiz online, which we've got some different pieces of information that you can tap into as a result of having filled out the quiz. We're going to talk through some of that information first. And then secondly, we'll also run through some of the different pieces of information that people have been sharing on Facebook as well. There are quite a few different questions that people ask about kind of how could being with a narcissist impact me? What are the different ways that I might go about a healing journey? And so they're the 3 pieces of content we'll cover today.
Yeah, and a lot of you haven't met Charlotte in the group before, so you've probably seen a lot of me. You've seen a lot of my videos like here and, in Instagram and everything like that. If you're not on Instagram, you haven't followed us yet on the.women.co, you can come find us there. But it's an opportunity for you to meet Charlotte as well. And you'll see why I'm so in love with her and, just all of the incredible work that we plan to do together. And so right now you might be thinking that, what we're doing is specifically about narcissism and that's what the Women Co is all about. It just happens that this quarter, this is the topic that we're launching. And then in the future, we'll be tackling topics that are also really challenging that really there needs to be an innovative way to approach it. So things like anxiety, depression, eating disorders, like all of those kinds of topics. So just to help you normalize right now what it is that you may have gone through, Charlotte's, we've both been in a lot of different support groups. And so we have some of the text that, a lot of people have shared, which is really valuable for you to understand just how it's been for you. And just to know that you're not alone. And then the other part is, we put a post in this group a couple weeks ago asking for people to share their stories. So if you go to thewomenco.com and then you click on the program, you'll be able to scroll down and see all of the different experiences that people have had with narcissism. And I think that's really important for you to just understand that it's not your fault. It's not you didn't do anything wrong, like your soul called this lesson forward. It became this invitation to rise. And we're going to be sharing a bunch of resources at the end of this so that you can, dive in for yourself. And it's just, so we're going to read a couple of those text messages. Charlotte, do you want to share a couple of those? Just to kind of give you a sense of the fact that you're not alone and a lot of other people have gone through this too.
Right. So there's hundreds of these in terms of the different ways that people have been describing their experiences. If I just run through a couple of them, what I went through was real. It's not imagined. I don't even know who I was before. What he did should be punishable, and there's no way I can inflict that pain on him. One of them is functioning can be a challenge. Please be nice to me. I'm going through a lot. It's really difficult for me. I get muscle pain when the stress is overwhelming. I forget things all the time. I'm not as confident as I used to be. I lost my passion for the things I used to be good at. And please don't judge me. I'm really coping and I'm trying to do the best I can. There's, and let me maybe find one more. Something as simple as I trust no one. As a result of this, I trust no one. And a one which resonates with a lot of people is I'm not crazy. Please don't think that I'm crazy. I've been manipulated.
Yeah. I think that the key is to understand that you're absolutely not alone and that it requires a lot of compassion. So a lot of what I do with a mindfulness company that I work with is we see how many people just deeply need compassion for where you are. There's like the saying of, if you could treat every person like they're walking around with a broken heart, I think that we'd have so much more compassion for what other people are going through. And I'm going to say, and could sound really crazy and controversial. But the reason that the narcissist is the way that they are is because they've experienced trauma in their lives. And the way that they handled it was through this means. So honestly, like, eventually I would like to get up to a place where I have so much compassion that I can have compassion for the fact that this person had become hurt so badly that this is how they became in order to cope with it. And that their pain is so great that they're inflicting it on other people this way. And I think that one of the things is that hurt people hurt people. You've probably heard that saying before. And what's really hard and what makes you feel like you're going crazy is the fact that your brain doesn't operate like this. Like the things that have been brought to my attention about what this person could have done shocks me, because my brain doesn't work like that. It doesn't think in these kind of manipulative ways. I mean, I'm not going to say that I haven't manipulated situations to my favor. Totally not going to say that, but I don't think about these things, and to really like get to someone and like hurt them so badly and say the terrible things. And like, I don't understand. My brain doesn't work like that. So I've had other people reflect back to me like, you know that this person is doing this because of this, right? And I was like, what? Like, no, that would have never occurred to me. So I think one of the things that we want to talk about is gaslighting. And Charlotte, do you want to talk a little bit about like what gaslighting is about?
Yeah, absolutely. So gaslighting is one of the most powerful techniques that a narcissist can use. The kind of purpose and why this is one of their manipulation techniques is because they want to try and center all of the attention back onto themselves and to make you doubt yourself. So the way that they use this is it can be very simple techniques. It can be something such as saying that they put the dishwasher has been on when it obviously hasn't been on, but they're telling you it's been on and they can justify that it's been on, and making you doubt your reality, doubt what's true, doubt what you can physically see in front of you as well. And the way that I've had this personally in my life through narcissists is there was a lot of lying in one of the relationships I had, and this is with one of my exes, and he used lying, used faking the truth, used different examples of situations he'd been in, and he would always come up with a new way to describe it, which wasn't what he told me before. So I never really knew what the truth was. But what happens is, because they come across as so smart, they're often very smart people, because they come across so confident, I was the one who felt I was crazy, and I was the one who felt as if my memory was failing me, and as if I was doubting what the real truth was. And it's one of the most powerful techniques for making you actually draw closer to them, because you end up believing that they're the truth teller because you're not sure yourself. So it's a very, very, very powerful technique.
It's super cunning and it's really manipulative, and it's so like covert. You don't even know that it's happening. You honestly don't know that it's happening. And so gaslighting was a term that was started, like if you look up the actual definition, it's this husband and wife, and the husband wanted to help his wife think that she was crazy. So he'd dim all of the lights, and she'd be like, why are the lights so dim? And he'd say, they're not dim. And she's like, no, they're dim. And he's like, no. So at first you're aware something is wrong. But then because someone, and it's kind of like a collective consciousness thing, if you're told about it all of the time, you're just going to start to believe it as reality. And reality is like a perceived thing. So that could be gaslighting. And I think the other thing that Charlotte was referring to is usually the person who is the narcissist in your life is very charming. They're so gregarious. They're so, at first swipe, they seem like amazing. And I think that is the hard part, because if you're an empath, if you are, a giving kind of person, if you have an open heart and you're willing to be seen in that way, it's really easy to, some people call narcissists energetic vampires, to have this person come in and then basically, you think that they're the life of the party, you think that they're so great. You start to see these other sides of them that are not so great, but everybody else around you is perceiving them as great, because that initial impression is that, kind of like life of the party, or like really smart and successful, or whatever it is. And because of that, combined with you being gaslighted, then you start to get really confused. Like, but everybody else likes this person, so then why am I having this challenge? Like, what is going on? So I think that that's something else to be cognizant of. Do you want to talk about love bombing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, love bombing is what happens often at the beginning of the relationship. If this is say, a romantic relationship or a friendship or even in a working environment, this is where the person overwhelms you with love and adoration. They tell you that you're the most amazing person in the world. Why have they never ever met somebody like you before? And part of the love bombing that is so impactful is that they relate you to them. So they say how anybody else that they ever loved or they'd ever come across or they'd ever worked with has never ever ever been as amazing as you. And this is so unique. This is a great tactic in love bombing. It is so unique, the combination of you and me, that we can do anything. And of course, that resonates with everybody. Of course, everybody wants to feel as if they've found this special connection with somebody, that they are even more amazing than you might believe you are yourself. And showering somebody with this much love, this much, it's a confidence boost. And also relating you to them, that you are amazing, but you're more amazing with me as say the narcissist. And this is a really powerful technique because love bombing is all about building that very quick, high momentum, taking over your entire world because you're so in love, and it draws so many hormones and internal body reactions. Things happen within your brain which start to mold you to being attached to that person. And from a scientific and an emotional level, love bombing is very, very powerful to build that relationship with the narcissist. And love bombing is the very first element that you often see in what's a longer term thing called trauma bonding. So trauma bonding is this cycle where you build a relationship with somebody where you are inflicting abuse on them. And the best way that abuse tactics works is that you will switch between good to bad, good to bad, good to bad. And so the first good behavior that you see from them is this love bombing, overwhelming love and adoration. And then what will happen is they will do something bad. But you've already got in your mind, as a result of the love bombing, how amazing they are. How could this be happening? How could this person suddenly treat me like this? Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I'm overreacting. And this is where what we just talked about in terms of the gaslighting, especially if they start bringing in lies very early on in that relationship, you can then doubt that this bad thing is even true. They're telling me it's not even true. They're amazing. I've just spent the last month or two in this amazing environment. Then what they do is they switch back again. They switch back into the good. And so the abuse that they brought into the relationship was relatively small versus the amount of good in the beginning. And with this confusion and the gaslighting, it can be very, very hard to even recognize it as abuse. It's very, very powerful.
It's super powerful. And I think it's kind of like, the ways that our brains get addicted to gambling or like chance responses. It's like, well, it could be good this time. So maybe I'll just like put a little bit more money down. Maybe I'll invest a little bit more time. Maybe I'll invest a little bit more energy. And I think that this is really important to talk about because we have 3 experts coming on who are going to talk about like rewiring your mind, and I'm going to talk about neuro-linguistic programming. So taking neuroscience, behavioral science, understanding this. And one of the things that I feel like is so powerful is because I didn't realize how deeply this experience had rooted into my brain and the mapping of my thinking until I was talking to a mind mapping expert who did this session with me. And I was really struggling with one like form of something that had happened recently as a recent development. So I brought it up, and I wasn't talking about this person at all. I was talking about this experience so that I could get this person, this mind mapping expert, to help me like process it and figure out where I was stuck and why I was stuck. But he profiled this narcissist relationship, or the person who I think has these tendencies to a T. And I was like, how did you do that? And he said, because I listened to your language, and your languaging shifted to take on his languaging. And based on his language patterns, I can tell you everything about him, what issues he's dealt with, what he hasn't dealt with, which was so surprising to me, because it just showed me that that's how deeply it was ingrained in me, that I couldn't even separate what was mine and what was his, that my language patterning was so nuanced to take that on. And I think that that's where it's so vital that you understand how deeply you may have been impacted that you may not even realize. And then what are the tools that you can use to get over that? So that's really, really interesting to talk about that. So, the other thing that I was thinking that would be important to talk about is kind of like the rage and the fear that shows up, and, what the anger, the narcissistic rage is one of the terms that you might have seen if you've been researching this. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this does fall into the whole trauma bonding, kind of this more scientific element of narcissist behavior. The rage is something where, if you go back to what Judy said right at the beginning, where a lot of the experiences that a narcissist has are they're actually coming from somewhere where they're really hurt inside. They've probably been brought up and they've got some traumatic experiences themselves, and this is why at a very young age they've developed these narcissistic tendencies, and so a lot of the rage that you will see coming across from a narcissist in the negative side of the trauma bonding experiences are them getting out all of the hurt inside of them. And what happens is that the other person on the other side of a narcissistic abusive relationship is pretty much always an empath. We absolutely want to fix things. We want to heal. We want to heal ourselves. We want to be happy. We want this person that we love and we're very bonded with, we want them to be happy. And so the rage is fantastic in terms of a manipulation technique to make you feel as if you overwhelmingly need to help that person. And this is, again, another very, very, very powerful tool within trauma bonding. Not only are they causing you and your own distress, and they are being abusive in that moment, because you're an empath, you don't internalize that as abuse. You internalize it as this person is so hurt and this person is in so much agony and is so rageful and so angry that I must be doing something wrong. I have to help them, or I need to change myself. And none of those are the right answers.
Yeah, the whole I must be doing something wrong. I mean, genuinely, as an empath, you will take that on and you will think, like, if I can change this, if I can do that, then this will be better. And the rage can happen like that. Like, genuinely, it could go from like 0 to the opposite end of the spectrum, like 180 in a few seconds flat. So that like rage as well is really scary if it's coming from, let's say a potential romantic partner who, let's be honest, like usually the masculine energy in the relationship, the male, is bigger than the female. So like just in the same, like the physical capacity of having someone like in your face yelling at you can be very traumatizing and very scary. If it's like, even with family members and all of that, like you just have so much invested in the relationship. It's really hard to let go, especially if you're married and you have a child together, or, like this is your family member, it's your mom and your dad, like really key core people in your life. And that can be really, really hard. I think the other thing that we had briefly touched upon earlier that I wanted to go back to is why don't other support groups work? And we just recorded this video on Instagram and we talked about it, and it's a little bit polarizing in the way that, there are all these support groups out there, different Facebook groups, different like membership sites, all of this kind of stuff. I think that it's really valuable to get that support in the beginning, to just normalize that you're not alone. There's all these other people going through what you're going through. However, we've both been in these groups, and then something happens, and this might not happen to everyone, where you're realizing that you're just constantly stuck in that energy. You're constantly stuck in that complaining energy. You're constantly stuck in like attracting more of the trauma to you because all these other people are in this collective consciousness of trauma. And some of the people that we like to, follow and just understand about how to shift that. Jess Lively is a really great resource. Abraham Hicks is a really good resource. Just understanding the spiritual laws of the universe and how if you're stuck in that energy, like you can't solve the problem from the place of the problem. You've got to solve it from the energy of the solution. And the energy of the solution is stepping up and out of that and then creating real change in your life. And that's why we develop change hacking. We want it to be this incredible, simple tool that you can apply and implement into your own life. But it's a systemic change, which means that this simple reframe, reset, shift that you can make is going to have this ripple effect on all these other aspects of your life. So it could be a mental reworking and like rewiring your subconscious, let's say, for example, but that then plays into every other element. You will feel more confident. You won't let things trigger you. You'll be able to ask for more money. Your physical experience might change. You know, this person might not be such a trigger anymore. And so, you know, Charlotte can talk a little bit more about that as well. Like, you know, what's the differentiation between being in those support groups and actively creating that change in your life?
Absolutely. So this is something I've actually had people asking me in these support groups. They've actually been raising the question to the entire groups, and they've been saying, okay, I understand that I can hear other people's stories of what they've been going through, but how do I actually heal? And a lot of people who are in these groups, they are sharing resources, and it's amazing. And it's absolutely one of the first things is just getting knowledge about different things. But then you need a tribe, you need a group of people around you, and you need an environment where the sole focus is on leveling you up. Is on absolutely focused on healing. And there are going to be moments, and there's going to be elements and different parts of that tribe and that community, which is going to be somewhere where you just digest, you get anything off your chest, you grieve, and you share your stories. But just having yourself within that one arena is really, it's not the prime environment for healing. And there's a lot of science, and there's a lot of science and psychology, and in terms of even engaging kind of the spirit and energy, that you need to be in the right environment. You need to be creating the right sensory awareness around you, the right people, the right conversations. We need to be using the right language as well. And taking you through a process where you are stimulated enough each week over a period of weeks to be able to start really shifting what's been happening in your brain and in your body. And this is exactly why we've created this program. There has been so many people wanting to know, what is the environment that I need to heal? What are the different things that I can do to heal? And I think another really important element in this is to understand that the healing journey for narcissistic abuse, it's 360 degrees. It's everything to do with your mind and everything to do with your body. And this is a fairly unique element when you look at kind of all the different types of personality disorder that you might have come across, and all the different types of abuse as well. Normally, it will be more focused in one area. But because of the manipulation tactics and because of the ways that narcissistic abuse happens, this can affect you in a whole plethora of different ways. Everything from your brain, literally your brain neuroscience, to your physical energy levels, to your finances. This can affect you in a whole kind of 360 degree, very holistic way. And so this needs a holistic healing program. And it requires a healing program that takes you across all those different elements, from your mind, your body, and even your soul, and your kind of your energetic ability to be in the right frame of mind in the right place as well.
Yeah, and if you've been following any of the, narcissist experts online, like Melanie Tanya Evans, Megan Holgate, the Instagram accounts that are up there with like the hundreds of thousands of, viewers, and all these different, even the narcissists, there's a national coalition about it. And we've brought our program to them, and all of them have said, like, this program, addresses all the things that we think that people are going through. This is a remarkable program, and so they know that this is a resource that is very valuable to heal from what it is that you've gone through. And we wanted to share top 3 tips that you can use in your own life today. So this whole webinar was designed to focus on this idea of change hacking, in which, you can create that one shift that may just have this huge monumental impact in your life so you can see results more quickly. And so one of the things that I think is really important is to surround yourself with a community of people who can hold your faith when you can't. So this was essential for me. I know it was essential for Charlotte. She had to have people calling her every day to check in, to make sure she was okay. I had to have the exact same thing. And these are people who had really strong faiths that are not necessarily my faith, but that they would hold that faith for me. It feels really good to have someone pray for you. It feels really good to have someone who believes in everything is going to turn out okay. You're going to get through this, like all that. You need that over and over again, constantly. So find that community. That's really, really huge. I think the other secret that many people may not realize is this idea of conscious masculinity. That one of the things that really helped me was to have men who are very strong in who they are, genuinely want to support women, very conscious about their own progress and development, be able to tell me what they believe a strong, upstanding, conscious masculine energy, how they can show up and how they should be showing up. And to hear them call out another man, being like, that's not how you treat a woman. That's not what you do. And you need that, because your whole reality may have become reframed because of this person in your life, whether they're a masculine, colleague, a father figure, a, husband, a partner, whatever it is. I think it's really important to have that reframe in your life. And then I think that the third tip is, well, I've been speaking. So Charlotte, do you have a third tip that you would really recommend?
I would say that it's, really being able to understand that there are all of these different sensory kind of scientific tricks that we will, throughout the 8 weeks of the program, will be sharing with you and getting through the community, testing how all of these different things work, that can get you into a situation where, regardless of whether you know it or not, your subconscious in your body is picking up on them and is putting you into a place where you are more likely to change. And this is scientifically backed, but even something as simple as smell has been it's very, very new, very, very recent, that the sense of smell is able to make you, first of all, feel happier. Second of all, be more engaged in whatever you are doing, and you're more likely to complete your task. So something very, 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 very simple as lighting a candle or getting one of the kind of in-home smell infusers, something like that can work on a very deep subconscious and physical body level to really help you create change. And this is what Judy and I are all about. And we're infusing this within the program to make sure that you are absolutely in the best hands and in the best place to be able to make the change that you're investing in.
Absolutely. So, we made it so that people of every income level can participate in this program, because we understand the financial abuse. That's why we have a financial consultant coming on to help you rebuild your wealth. So if you are interested in participating, today's the last day to save $800 on the program and get the early bird bonuses. So it expires at midnight. If this speaks to your heart, you can even do it in 3 payments. It's $266 each for those payments. And just think about what that investment of 3 investments of $266 can do for your life. Like, how can that change your life? What will you walk away with? Do you want a new life in 8 weeks? Is that something that you're really looking forward to? So, are you ready for this? Are you ready for the change? Then we highly encourage you, if it speaks to your heart, to sign up today. You can send us a message as well. If you're interested, you can go check out the program yourself and, see what it is that we're offering, how it's structured. It's all structured purposely so that each week builds upon the week prior. So it's definitely something. The early bird special expires today. The other thing is, if you are in need of financial support and you can't afford this right now and the payment plans just don't work for you and you're really struggling, but you're very committed, then we invite you to go to apply for our scholarship. We do have a few scholarships available. We do want to make this accessible. And, we're willing to work with you in creative ways as well to make this happen for you. So, for a lot of you who may not know this, we have an affiliate structure. So if this is some work that you really want to share with people in your audience and you think that it's really great and you want to participate, you can come join us as an affiliate. There's so many ways, and it's time for you to get creative about the things that you need to heal. It's so essential. So if you really want to change yourself, to change, this life for your children, to change and help change the world, then we really invite you to go check it out. And the other thing is, if you think about it, how much money have you spent on doctor's appointments, holistic practitioners, massage, trips to get away, a divorce coach, a lawyer, like all of this stuff? Like, how much are you spending just to get things to a certain point of surviving and not even yet thriving? So we really encourage you to go check it out, go join our program. And, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask us. We are here for you. We created this program because we care and we want to help you. We've been where you've been. It's been super shitty. And there's got to be a different way to go about it, a way that's better than, anything else that exists. And that's what we created. Charlotte, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't think so. We are so excited to have you join us. We really, really are. And I am even more excited to be able to share the experts that we have lined up for you every single week. They really are the best of the best, and the amount of commitment they have to be not only sharing through the live elements that we have every week, where they'll be teaching you each of the change hacks. They're also coming into your private community group, and they're going to be chatting with you. They're actually going to be there so you can engage with them, you can chat with them, you can talk through and really, really, really hone in what you're learning, which is very different to any other kind of coaching experience you would have, where you have the coaching session and then you're kind of by yourself. This is not the way to heal. So we're just so thrilled to be able to bring these to you.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. You can find us in the Facebook group, The Women Co. You can come find us on Instagram, the.women.co, and you can just, go to thewomenco.com and reach out on the contact page. But we are so excited and sending you so much love. Mahalo.
Mahalo.